Hi, I'm Susan Shaner with Sage Leadership Strategies, and I'm your host today of Community Forum. And I have the great pleasure to have with me Linda Fiske and Christy Doyle, who are harmonium practitioners in Redding and Bethel towns, respectively. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you, Susan.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So we're going to learn in a few minutes about just exactly what harmonium is, but before we do that, I thought our viewers might be interested to learn a little bit more about your backgrounds, how long you've been in the area, and how you came to this work. So Chrissy, do you want to go first?
Sure. I've been in Bethel for 6 years, and I actually am a yoga instructor, and I came to this work kind of accidentally. I stumbled upon a yoga studio and saw a poster and asked what it was, and I was intrigued, and I thought, oh, I'll give it a try. So I had a treatment, and I loved it right away, and I thought, this is what I want to be doing.
Oh, wow, great. So have you been a yoga instructor for a long time, or?
Not for too long, for about a year.
Oh, okay. And before that, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. I was an executive assistant, and then I was a stay-at-home mom for about 4 years.
Okay, great. So this is a way for you to get back into the workforce?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. And Linda?
I've been in Redding for about 5.5 years. I first moved here as a part-time resident out of Manhattan, where I was living and working, and it was a weekend home. And then as things have evolved, it's now my permanent home, and Manhattan is more my temporary one. I still maintain a foot there. But I've been here now for solidly full-time for 3 years as a resident.
Okay, and what's your story about how you came to the work?
Well, I've always been interested and active in spiritual work, whether it's meditation or yoga, but when I moved out here from New York, I didn't have any resource. I mean, I didn't know where I was and what there was available, and I found...
Way out here in the country.
Way out here in the country. I was starting from scratch. So I found the studio in Bethel and began doing the Nam yoga there, which was a little bit new to me. I had a Kundalini yoga background, but they're very similar. And just the proximity and the teachers and the yoga itself just resonated with me very, very deeply. So it's been an ongoing thing since then.
So for our viewers who are not familiar with, I mean, Kundalini, I think maybe some people have heard of, but Nam is fairly new. Can you give us, either one of you give us a general definition of what Nam is?
You wanna?
Sure. Nam is actually the science of light and sound. So they use light and sound and kriyas and meditations. So we have the Kundalini aspect of it, the kriyas in the background. It's also background as well, universal Kabbalah.
Okay, Linda, what would you add to that?
Yeah, no, that's really the definition of it. I would just add, for people that may not know or be familiar with what Kundalini yoga is, as opposed to the myriad of other types of yoga out there, what it is for me is a lot of emphasis on breath and asana, which is postures and movement, mudras, which are hand seals, and the mantra meditation. So when you combine all of those together, you've really got a package that hits every level. And for me, I really liked a lot of, I mean, the breath work and the mantra and the mudras were something that I didn't feel were, or in my experience, had been quite so prevalent in other yogas that I had been exposed to and practiced.
So you're both teachers of this Nam yoga and also harmonium practitioners. So what's harmonium?
Harmonium is a healing system which raises vital energy and the rate of vibration in your body, which enhances your body to kick itself into self-healing mode.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Linda, what would you add to that?
Just that, yes, it's that, and it's really the universal life force. I mean, you're working with a transmission, And so, you're activating energy on 3 levels of your being: the physical, the emotional or astral, and the mental or divine. There are those 3 general levels of our being, which many people sometimes forget that we're more than just the physical.
Yeah.
So it addresses all of those levels.
Okay. So for folks that aren't familiar with energy work, and this sounds kind of like woohoo out there, what would you say? I mean, like, what does this really mean? How does it work?
It actually works on your nervous system. Mm-hmm. So basically we're focusing, working on from the nape of the neck to the lower end of the spine. And it's really working on your spinal system and all the nerves. And
well, Christy mentioned before that Nam is a blending of Kundalini Yoga and Universal Kabbalah, and taking the Kabbalah side of it, Harmonyum is a very Kabbalistic healing system, and to that end, the spine is really the microcosm of the macrocosm.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Well, the universe. Okay, am I getting too far out there?
Let's just
the
break it down,
universe
break it down.
being the macrocosm.
Okay.
All of that unseen that is out there. Whether I personally believe there's a lot out there. Everybody has their different levels of belief and opinions, but that if there is something bigger than us, that's the macrocosm. And our bodies are the microcosm, the physical world. So there's as above, so below. There are many, aphorisms that I could use, but the body is a representation. The spine contains everything that is there universally. So by working on the spine, you're covering all those areas.
It's interesting. I actually read somewhere that all of the chemicals that exist, like in the universe, in the sky, actually in the galaxy or whatever, actually exists in our body. Is it?
Well, Harmonium works on a cellular level. It actually changes your cells.
Now, how does that happen?
Well, like I said before, it increases our vibration. We are energy. We're made up of energy. So when you raise your vibration, you're strengthening your immune system. It basically builds a platform for your body to self-heal. And it's been said that self-healing is the only permanent form of healing. So, you can get medications, you can go to a doctor, but no doctor can clear your mind. That's work that has to be done within yourself. And what Harmonium does, it kind of eases your body so that you're relaxed enough to raise the level of vibration. And you do that by working with Nam and with Harmonium as well. It's a transmission of energy.
So what's the relationship between the Nam and the Harmonium? You're saying they both have a Kabbalah component. Maybe let's talk about what's Kabbalah. Can you give us like a headline definition of that?
Well, everything...
Well, Kabbalah, very, very generally speaking, is Jewish mysticism. I mean, it's rooted in Judaism. But the universal Kabbalah that we work with is based on a very simple level for the purpose of this discussion. It's the divine laws, the natural laws. There are certain rhythms in the universe on a very basic level. You can look at it from the phases of the moon. We work with the waxing moon and the waning moon, and we work with days of the week, and we work with months of the year, and we work with universal periods, all of which require a little bit more definition, but that there are universal laws, and that when we work in harmony with those, we're more in harmony with ourselves and the universe, and when we're not in harmony with them through our own lack of understanding or ignorance, we can't really be working in our optimum way because we don't see the whole picture.
Yeah.
Right, so it uses the name, which is the word. It's word. You can use words to uplift and raise, like I said before, your vibration, or you can use words. It just takes one word to destroy, and it takes one word to uplift. So
yes, well, back to your question about how Nam and Kabbalah are similar, how they work together. The meditations and the mantras that we use in Nam are they create a physical effect by chanting. You're stimulating the upper palate with your tongue. There are nerve endings there. That corresponds to parts of your brain. I don't want to get too technical, but you're actually creating a physical effect.
So it's like acupoints?
Very similar, yes, according to the mantra that you would be chanting, and there are numerous ones for numerous different things, and that's the beauty of it. I want to have this effect today. I want to have this effect for a month. I want to work on this issue. In Harmonium, going back to what Christy said, when you're working on the nervous system, there's the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. And the sympathetic nervous system is the one that most of us are using every day. It's what gives us our energy. Yeah. And the parasympathetic is much harder for some people to get back into. That's the state of relaxation and calm. And Harmonium will bring you into, it will really affect your parasympathetic so that you go into a deep state of relaxation.
So you're a little bit more balanced.
Well, and yes, you're not only more balanced, but when you're in that relaxed state, not only can your self-healing mechanisms kick in, but the energy that the Harmonium is transmitting to you can do its cellular work that Christy was talking about, which can actually work on it can alter your DNA to create changes in you. I mean, it goes deep.
So that's a really strong statement. It can alter your DNA. So can you give us a story or a client situation where either someone you worked with or maybe some of your teachers worked with that had a profound healing?
Well, I'll let Chrissy take that, but I can just say, there are countless stories of incredible healings.
I actually had a family member who recently had a harmonium. She kind of fell into it. She wasn't very open to it, but happened to go. She's a very high energy person, very high stress, and actually came out of it going, well, I don't know. And then the next day, her whole tone changed. She was much more calm, much more positive. And for me,
and you don't think it's because she got a good night's sleep?
Well, that
I'm just trying to point here.
That could be part of it. But having someone so close to me, and me knowing, like from experience, what the work does, I could see it. I also had a client who had a very bad disc problem and who was in severe pain and couldn't walk, and I had an emergency call to go over there, and she had never had one before. And 2 hours after the treatment, she called and was amazed. She was pain-free, and she could walk around where she could not walk prior to the treatment. Of course, she followed up with her medical doctor, but she couldn't believe. I mean, she could actually feel the pain as we were doing the treatment leaving her body.
So this would fall more in the bucket of like complementary care versus somebody who wouldn't necessarily consult with you and not in a situation like that and not consult with their medical practitioner or their doctor.
Right. Well, they should always consult with their medical doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just to demystify this for our guests, can we do a demonstration?
Sure.
So we happen to be very fortunate to have another harmonium practitioner here in the audience, Lisa George. Lisa, you can come lie on the table. And Lisa's going to be the client or the patient, right? And Linda, you're going to walk us through just generally.
Sure.
So the client would be fully clothed.
Fully clothed.
And just lie on the table with the headrest here?
Mm-hmm. And they stay on their stomach the whole time, as opposed to a lot of treatments where you start on your stomach or you start on your back and turn over. Okay. This is it. You're just here for 45 minutes to an hour, maybe slightly more, depending on your state on any given day of treatment.
Okay.
Arms are by the side or wherever is comfortable, because really we just work from here to here.
Okay.
And
so from the nape of the neck to the sacrum?
Nape of the neck to the sacrum, exactly. And it's all the work goes on here, so I'm not moving to the sides, I'm not moving below, and I'm not moving above, just right here, so it's very simple.
And you're you're not above the body, but you're doing light touch?
No, I'm doing light touch
Okay.
throughout. There are times where
It's not a massage.
No, it's not a massage. I'm going to, in a treatment, I would be doing various movements with my hands up and down the spine. Some are stacked, some might be circular motions, but some are more like a light touch. But nothing, it's no deep tissue massage. And there's no, working above the body with the hands. Anything that I'm doing for my hands would be with physical touch.
So above the body, that's more like Reiki? Okay.
Well, Reiki touches as well.
Okay.
But there are energy healing modalities of various types where you work not touching the body. And in fact, there are types of harmonium where you would not touch the body. But in this particular treatment, which is the most common and very effective, you would always maintain hand contact when you're working.
So there's different kinds of harmoniums. This is kind of your basic
Different
harmonium.
levels of harmonium, yes.
This would be like somebody would come in initially, this is what you're
This is the bread and butter.
Okay, okay. And so you said, different things you're doing. Do you decide, or is there a
No,
technique or a process?
there's a very specific format that you follow.
So there's a protocol.
Yes,
There's a
absolutely.
technique to this.
There's
Okay.
steps, and we follow them to the letter. So there's no real ad-libbing or intuition. I feel that I should put my hand here or there. We are really just completely neutral as the practitioner. So my duty is to just remember the steps properly, to do them properly, and to be, in a good space to perform a healing. To have the best intentions, to come with the right attitude,
Okay.
alignment, etc.
Okay. And so Lisa's just kind of zoning out here. She's doing the big chill thing. Thanks, Lisa. She's our Kevin Costner of this segment. So she's zoning out. Now, is it quiet? Do you talk to the client?
No, I
How
do
does
not
it-
talk. I play some healing music.
Okay.
It's very relaxing. The client can pay attention to it or not pay attention to it. Usually somewhere within the session, it depends on the person and it depends on the session itself. Most people will fall asleep or go into like a dream astral, in-between state at some point. Some, it happens early on. Others, it takes about 3/4 of the session before you can just kind of tell they've gone somewhere.
So you might have snoring.
So you might, absolutely, you might have snoring. But the music is really there to just enhance the healing energy.
So is
And
it
to
a particular
relax
kind of
them.
music that you pick, or?
Yes, it's music that is actually created by the person who has given us all harmonium, the practice itself.
So who's given the practice?
His name is Joseph Michael Levry, also known by his spiritual name as Guru Nam.
So, meaning, where did he get it from?
He received it divinely.
So somebody said, hey, here, I'm hitting this down.
Yeah, he received it, intuitively.
So he created this.
Yes, he did.
Okay. So there's music, Lisa's zoning out. At the end of 45, 50 minutes, then does she just hop off the table?
Well, I wouldn't quite put it that way.
Hey, I'm good. I'm baked.
No, at the end of the session, of the part where she's lying down, I would, because she's going to be very, very relaxed, if not asleep. If she's asleep, I would gently wake her. If she's very relaxed, I would just ask her at her own pace to gently sit up and face away from me with her legs over the table. And she's probably pretty relaxed at this point, so I'm going to be moving slowly and moving slowly because of my wires.
Yeah.
And then I would just do some work on her back, the whole head to sacrum area again to
Okay.
kind of ground and clear and just smooth out the energy so that, it's just kind of like letting the...
So would you be doing it like this, or again, this is light touch, or this is away from the body?
No, I would be touching.
Okay. But just head, shoulders?
Yep, all
Okay.
from here down to here and some shoulders a little bit. Just kind of, doing different movements that will, as I say, bring her more back into the physical so she kind of is feeling more grounded. And then I'm also doing some things that are just kind of putting the cherry on the sundae as far as the healing itself goes.
Okay.
So there's still continued healing taking place, but it's not quite as intense as
And
when
this
she
is
was
still
lying
part
down.
of that set protocol, whatever that is?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I follow the protocol until I say you're done, and then there's no more protocol. She can do what she wants.
And so then, and then how are your clients typically after this? Do they go and get in the car and drive home?
Well, in the country they do. In Manhattan, they would have
get
to
on the
take a
subway.
subway or get a cab. But no, yes, they essentially go home. But most, I encourage clients to really schedule a session when they're not going to have to go right back into the, craziness of life, that, they don't have to rush off to a business meeting, or they don't have to go pick the kids up, to let it integrate and really settle and give themselves the benefit and the gift of just enjoying that space where they're relaxed and the healing. So the healing does continue to work after they leave the table.
So it sounds like they might be a little zoned out.
Yeah, they can be. I mean, some people really, it depends on the personality too. Some people do just say, okay, off they go. And other people, you can just tell they want to really kind of wallow in that relaxed state.
Okay, and so that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it.
That's the nuts and bolts.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. So what would you say, we talked a little bit about Reiki, and what would you say is maybe like the difference between, I mean, I know Reiki's sort of become pretty well known in kind of the energy circles in the last 10, 15 years. What would you say is the difference between Reiki and Harmonium? What's the benefit of Harmonium versus Reiki?
Do you want to say something?
Well, I'm not very well versed in Reiki, but I think that it's important to add that you don't lose anything once you get a treatment from Harmonium. Each treatment you get is kind of a layer upon the other. So unlike other, I don't know about Reiki in particular, but like massage or whatever, it builds on. So you're not losing anything in between treatments. I guess it kind of is like a journey. It intensifies as you build up upon.
Cumulative
It's a
effect.
cumulative.
Oh,
yeah.
it is a cumulative effect. That's
Yes.
interesting. So how do you see that? How does that show up as a cumulative effect?
Well, I would say when you have the benefit of treating a single person more than once, numerous times, you can see how it evolves.
You know what I'm wondering? So you went through this training, you're practitioners. I'm assuming that you've had your own harmonium treatments over time. Tell us a little bit about how has it affected and impacted your life personally, being the recipient of harmonium?
Well, I know for me that it's really worked on my anxiety level. I used to have a lot of really high anxiety, and from the minute I get on the table and I feel the hands, it's like whoosh, it sucks the stress literally out of me. And like I said, I feel the after effects. And so I think for me, the whole stress reduction has been a big part of it. But also, it's supposed to really work on your skin, and it brightens your eyes. I mean, you can see I could see a physical difference within myself.
Wow. So it took away all your stress? It's cumulative? Does it stay away? How long does it stay away?
Life is stressful. You wake up and you get out of bed and, you just...
Right. Oh, there it
Of
goes.
course, it's life. There's going to always be stress, but part of the beauty of Harmonium and the NOM is those are tools for the in the toolbox for stress reduction and,
Right.
and living life on a higher level
Yeah.
with less stress for
Yeah.
me.
Okay. Linda, what would you say?
My personal experience is probably, actually, I would say, different than most of the people that I've treated. I tend to just relax, which is saying something. I don't have specific issues like anxiety, or I would say maybe in general it's helped me be a little more patient in the sense of not reacting to things so quickly, which was something that I needed to work on in all phases of life anyway. So Harmonium has just been, as Christy said, another tool in the toolbox.
Okay.
But I have, experience personally as a practitioner, and also just through stories of other practitioners. I mean, people have amazing releases, physically, emotionally. I personally have not experienced that, but it's all where someone's at and what's going on. It's not to say that I wouldn't in 2 years if I was perhaps going through, an illness or a stressful time or had some upset in my life that I haven't had, thankfully, recently.
Yeah.
So for me, the Harmonium just allows me to slow my mind down, which is something that I need to do.
Yeah.
I have a very active mind. In fact, the first time I had a Harmonium treatment, I was so in my head, I was just paying attention to everything that was being done. You know, I had difficulty even relaxing into the treatment, but it's a testament to the effect of it that even my overactive mind eventually slows down.
So I can definitely see where, first of all, for a lot of people, just lying on the table, is probably just being able to get permission to do that, just lie on the table could be very relaxing. But this notion that you're saying that it has a cumulative effect over time, so you mentioned you get a massage, that's great, but it kind of wears off, the next week you need a massage. So this works over time, so as you get more and more treatments, does it change like your baseline, like your stress level baseline to like a lower level, would you say?
I think so. Like I said before, it works on a cellular level, and if you're changing the chemistry within your body, something, it changes. Your body does change. And for me, I know like my level of awareness is greater.
Yeah.
I watch what I say more.
Okay, great. So just give me a one-liner. What do you find most fulfilling about this work? Just like a one nugget.
I think the most fulfilling thing for me is helping people to help themselves.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I would say just seeing what it does to people. I mean,
Okay.
that's it. It's so fulfilling, and knowing how we all want to heal ourselves, but knowing that you can help heal someone else and see them be so transformed and so grateful.
Okay, great. So if somebody was interested in finding out more about Harmonium, this particular kind of energy work, where would they go? What resource would they tap into?
They could go online to www.rootlight.com or namyoga.com or Google.
Okay,
The
great.
internet is always good.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been really informative.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm Susan Shaner. Until next time with Community Forum. Thanks for joining us.